great, great, great.
Alafia.
Alafia, buru abaye.
You all can hear me, huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I want to say that I'm in California in my new apartment, and it's in the basement, right? So sometimes the internet is a little bit funny. If my image freezes or the sound gets clogged up, be patient. I just called the folks to get better better internet service down here. But I am really, really pleased to be able to connect in this way. The technology baffles me, but it's also very, very good for us being able to get together like this. How's everybody doing?
Great to be here.
Right on. If you're doing okay, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Right on. Okay. Now I see that we have a little village of people. It says, the screen says that we have 78 people.
That's correct, Yeye.
That is wonderful. That turns us into a dreaming village. 78 consciousnesses working on a similar thing at a similar time. As usual, I want to begin by saying Alafia. And when I say Alafia, what I am saying is, may you have good health and be at peace with your neighbor. And because feeling is the real magic in manifestation, I always ask people to take a moment and see if you can imagine what it would feel like to have good health on every level. Mental good health, which is running scarce these days as crazy as things are, you know. Physical good health, emotional good health, and peace with your neighbor would be social good health. I think that given the conditions that we're facing today, Alafia becomes a really, really important greeting and something that we have to try to feel in spite of the external reality that is nibbling away at us every day. So I want you to take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And with your eyes closed, I want to invite you to enter into the soft, dark warmth, the warm dark of winter. I want you to imagine yourself sitting in front of a fireplace with the smell of wonderful brews. Your feet are warm. You are wrapped in something very, very cozy. And you are very, very comfortable, whether you are there alone or with family and friends. Take a deep breath and let your body relax. As you curl up in the blanket, remember what it was like to be swaddled as a newborn baby. Remember what it was like to feel the comfort of having warmth surround you. And even more so, with the next deep breath, see if you can remember what it felt like to be in the soft, warm darkness, the wet, warm womb of your mother. It is in this place and at this time that we are between the world of the ancestors, the spirit, and the living. The child in the womb spends time in dream, just as
figure this out.
the caterpillar in the cocoon spends time dreaming of the butterfly that it is going to become.
Why don't you just switch to phone audio?
And so I'm inviting you right now to take a moment and let yourself dream. Give yourself permission to dream the future. Give yourself permission to feel a better day coming. Give yourself permission to engage in the magical power of imagenesis, where things are created from what we can imagine, what we can dream.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
I have it.
Alafia, Yeye.
Something happened to the phone there. Everybody should be muted except me. Okay, were you all, if you were able to participate in that visualization, give me a thumb up. Okay, because I want you to be very, very relaxed. The first thing I want to say is that even though we are on this technology and we are using, this frontal lobe of ours to process the talk, the dream state comes from a much deeper place. The dream does not have to be rational, reasonable, like a dissertation or like a newspaper report. And that is where the magic is in it. Oftentimes, I've associated with a lot of dream therapists over the years, and I've seen a number of different techniques that people use to interpret their dreams. One very popular one is the idea that that you are every character in the dream, and that you can analyze the meaning of the dream from that perspective. And then, of course, there's Jungian symbolism, which is a little bit closer to reality than the Freudian approach to it. But I want to take you to a more indigenous, grounded place around dreams. And I'd like to start by reading a section from Jambalaya to illustrate. Those of you who have the book close at hand, I am reading from page 158. There's a section called Treasure from a Dead Man's Chest. I walk out of the administration building of Delgado Junior College in New Orleans, carrying a map and some phone numbers. I've been trying to locate an instructor who taught a class in voodoo there a few years ago. Most of the history staff don't remember who that instructor was, and the one person who might is out to lunch. I return to my mother's car and explain that I have to call back later. Where you want to go now? She asked, knitting her brow. She who whispers tells me, remember your dream. Although I'd had many dreams, I know exactly which one she's speaking of. It's at least 4 years old. It was one of those dreams that sent me running to the phone to make a long-distance person-to-person call to Mama's house. I'd inquired after the health of every family member, and finding them all alive and well, proceeded to tell Mama about the dream. She said it was just worry. In the dream, I'd flown to New Orleans on my magical bicycle. When it stopped in front of my mother's house, the ground was swampy and catfish skeletons were nestled in the grass. The figure of a thin, pale woman appeared before me. As I recall, she had no face per se. A gray cloud surrounded her entire being, and I assumed that she straddled the land of the living and the dead only by remaining within the gray cloud. The cloud vibrated. Words were directed to me that I understood, but this communication could not be called speech. Your father's buried over there, she indicated, pointing toward a patch of land covered with muddy brown water. I waded in the water. Beneath my feet, large slippery stones were placed in rows to mark the graves. My toes encountered a rough stone, and I decided this one was my father's. Okay, I said to the gray cloud woman. She touched me now, spreading long bony fingers over my chest. And your mother is over there. Her bony fingers swept across my chest, slid through the air, and pointed to a dense swamp in the distance. From where I stood, I saw thick berry bushes, beady white flowers, and crooked cypress trees, heavy laden with Spanish moss. I ran toward the swamp, breathing with my mouth open. Hot, blinding tears rolled down my face. I reached out, tried to gather up the beady white flowers, stepped forward, and fell waist high into swamp water. Beneath my feet were the gnarled roots of ancient trees, and possibly a swarm of snakes. I fought to disentangle myself, slipped a few times, and finally touched what could be called solid earth. A few feet away lay a bed of soft gray Spanish moss. I knew somehow that this was my mother's grave. I placed the bouquet of beady white swamp flowers on the center of the bed, threw myself on it, and fell into a deep mourning drone. It began to rain. Then the sun came out, and a warm Gulf breeze seemed to dry everything on earth. The gray cloud woman helped me up. I see myself walk toward my mother's house and seemingly disappear into a cloud. The next picture was of me, lying in my bed. I seemed to age rapidly until I knew it was my time to go. My own voice wakes me up. I am asking the question, where's my father's plot? Where's my family plot? Well, my mother's voice brings me back from memory. Where's our family plot, I ask. She bobs her head forward and points across the street from where we are parked. Right there, Hope Cemetery, I say decidedly. I want to go see it. We pile out of the car, roll up the window and lock it. She puts our purses in the trunk and slams it shut. Too many thieves for me, she complains. Now, Jambalaya was published in 1985. But when I look at that passage, I see that my dream was foretelling me of Hurricane Katrina and my mother's crossing, you see, you know, and the gray cloud woman, the spirit, the ancestor spirit who was foretelling all of this to me, you know. Sometimes it takes years for a dream to make itself clear. It takes years for a dream to manifest. And this is why I like for people to keep a dream journal, or at least jot down enough sentences so that you can remember your dreams, because the dreams are telling you something that is long range, that is not only personal, but communal, and sometimes even ecological, you know. So that when I read this passage and I see myself moving through swampy water, you know, I am reminded of the tragedy of Hurricane Katrina, okay. I buried my mother 4 years ago. I had to go to New Orleans to attend to sit at my mother's bedside as she crossed over, and was actually in that cemetery that I write about in Jambalaya. The other interesting thing about it is that in that dream, I am putting beady white flowers on my mother's grave, and in reality, when the word went out that my mother had crossed, people sent me white flowers from as far as Afghanistan and Tibet and Africa, you know. So it behooves us to not take a superficial approach to our dreams. Don't just dismiss it as I ate too many pickles last night, you know. Sometimes it is true that your dreams do what I call a sweep in the corner of the room. Sometimes the dream is just a combination of a lot of disconnected thoughts or feelings that you've had during the day. Sometimes your dream is telling you, you know, when you get up tomorrow, make sure you do the laundry. But the dreams, the very significant dreams, the ones that repeat themselves, the ones that will not let you rest until you pay attention to them, those are ancestral communications. By that I mean the surviving intelligence of the ancestors is making the effort to contact you, to tell you something, to show you something, to prepare you for something. And these messages carry an energy that do not just remain in the area of the imagination, but become the genesis for the creation of new things. I love to remind people that Albert Einstein said that imagination is greater than knowledge, and that he found the theory of relativity in a dream. In a dream. And when we go into the Dreamwork class this winter, the class that's going from January to March, we will deal with several things that I know some of you are thinking. Well, Yeye, what if I'm one of those people who never dreams? Bullshit. Everybody dreams. Animals dream. We know this now. The problem there is you don't remember the dreams. The average person has at least 3 dreams a night, but may not remember them in full, may only remember snippets of it. But if you have a long history of waking up thinking that you don't dream, but are also accompanied by a feeling of apprehension, then we need to deal with that, because important messages are being suppressed, okay, and pushing it down in the artery, pushing it down in the consciousness. And I maintain that the messages that your ancestors are trying to bring you are important, and you need to pay attention to them. Our dreams, like water gazing, all of those things that take us into the alpha state, and we will learn, those of you who don't know how to arrive at the alpha state, we will do some practicing around that. The alpha state is that state where most of your energy goes from dealing with external things like, did I wash the dishes today? Are the bills paid, etc., where that energy is refocused to your interior life, so that you can get in touch with your intuition, so that you can hear the whisperings of the ancestors and the spirits and understand what they are telling you. We will learn how to get into the alpha state, because it is a very, very powerful place where you can practice what is called sleep concentration. Now, sometimes you go to bed with a great aggravation on your mind. You go to bed exhausted. You go to bed worried. You toss and turn all night long. Sleep concentration is the direct opposite of that, in that to achieve sleep concentration, we power down. You don't flop out in the bed exhausted. And please, people, hear me real clearly. If there are those among you who fall asleep with your cell phone in your hand, put that thing away. Put it away. Put it away an hour before you are planning to go to sleep. The research shows people who fall asleep with the cell phone buzzing in their head do not sleep well, end up with headaches, and are being, indoctrinated into some weird things, okay? So you want to learn how to let go, power down, relax your body, recycle your energy from the exterior to the interior landscape, and then it is possible to actually program your consciousness, that is, send a message to the ancestors saying, hello, I have the following problem, advice please, and then pay attention to what you dream. Pay attention to what you dream. We tend to dream about what we are concentrating on. We tend to dream about what we need to know. And there are all kinds of ways to access this alpha state. There's ways to clean your bedroom, dress your bed, teas to drink, all kinds of things to help you to step into that other space where communication with the guiding spirits is facilitated, where it is easier, okay? You will also come to recognize that through things like water gazing and through sleep concentration, you create a symbol system between you and your ancestors. This becomes very, very important. I have two stories I want to share with you there. The first thing I want to say is, how many of you, if someone says there was a snake in their dream, how many of you automatically think something bad is going to happen? That there's a deception, that there's a snake in the grass, that something weird is about to go on. If that's your first thought, show me a thumb. Okay. If that is your first thought, that is because you are relating to the symbol in Genesis, where a snake comes and tells Eve to do something that she's been told not to do. Okay. And Freud leaned heavily on a lot of that kind of thing. Okay. But now, if you are someone who has studied Eastern traditions, or if you are someone who has studied pre-Christian indigenous European tradition, the snake might mean for you a symbol of transformation. It might mean I'm going to wiggle out of this old skin and renew myself. It might mean Kundalini rising, that energy that's been pressed down in your spine is coming up. And that is a much, much better interpretation. Okay. Now, yes, of course, if somebody's really, trying to deceive you and snake means that to you, then you need to check that out. But if that is the only interpretation for snake that you have, snake may be trying to tell you something else. For me, when snake shows up, I say the deity Damballa is trying to communicate with me because I have initiation for Damballa, So that's one of the things that I would want us to do, is a re-examination of what shows up in your dreams. As you start keeping track of your dreams, you will recognize that certain figures tend to show up, certain animals tend to show up. You will come to understand what the various elements mean in your dreams. What happens when your dream is surrounded by water, or when you're walking through fire, that kind of thing. If you are good enough, you can come to a place where you do what is called lucid dreaming. Yeah, where I see Rebecca shaking her head, right? Lucid dreaming is a wonderful, wonderful thing, because with lucid dreaming, you come to a place where you are not only a spectator, but an active participant in the dream. So, the classic dream that we have of being chased by a monster. When we come to lucid dreaming, we can stop running, turn around, and tell that monster to get on his knees and obey me. You see? So the dream work can be a very, very empowering force for us. These are the kinds of things that I want to address in the winter class. How fast we move and how deep we move will depend upon what kinds of obstacles we come up against. If there are people who, maybe I should just ask the question, are there people on this call who are terrified by their dreams? If you have dreams that terrify you, show me your thumb. Do I have any thumbs up there, Leah?
There are a few thumbs up, Yeye.
Okay. All right. So what I want to assure you, those of you who have your thumbs up, I'm not going to take you anywhere that I can't bring you back from. Okay. Ain't nobody gonna lose their mind because they're exploring the dreams. And one of the things that is true about terrifying dreams, they often are trying to remind us about things that happened in the past that we suppressed in order to survive. You know, if you accidentally cut yourself, it hurts for a while, and then a scab develops so that you don't hurt so much, but then maybe later on you realize that there's infection under that scab, you know, and that's when you've got to take the time to soften it and take it off and get down to the flesh and medicate it. Yeah, you know, we will, for those of you who have had terrifying dreams, we will deal with that. Now, you know, keeping a dream journal is something that people do at different levels. Sometimes the best thing to do is when you power down at night, just make sure that there's a pen and a piece of paper close by the bed. We can create dream altars. We can call upon dream totems and so on and so forth. Maybe you will be one of those people who wakes up in the middle of the night and just writes a sentence, you know, to remind you of what you were thinking or feeling when you woke up. And then later on, you can recount the dream into a tape or write it out fully, or however, whatever amount of notes you want to make to, you know, remind yourself of what was on your mind. The important thing I want to tell you about waking up out of a dream, you know, get up, jot a note, go to the bathroom, drink a little bit of water, and then do your best to lay in the same position that you were in when you woke up, so that the body, you know, comes to agree with you. I mean, I have a really crazy thing going on with me. I always sleep on my left side with a pillow between my knees, and I'm telling on myself now, I have a stuffed doll of a lion, and I go to bed clutching my lion. I go to bed clutching my lion, right? And sometimes I have noticed, I had a dream when I was in Costa Rica that was really a trip. It was, it came to my attention that because of the light that was coming into the room, I laid on my right side. And when I laid on my right side, the dream that I had was that I was in a train station. I was on an escalator that was going up, but the train stopped and I fell down on the up escalator. Then the escalator stopped, and from my injured position, I looked up and I saw a man trying to put a key in a door that I identified as my door. It was a very, very disturbing dream. At first, I didn't understand the meaning of it, but I said, Teish, you got to test this and see. Ever so often, sleep on your right side just to see what the effect is. And when I sleep on my right side, the dreams are always more disturbing than when I sleep on my left. So I've been trying to retrain my body to say, okay, the right side is not the place of horror, but I know that it's trying to tell me something, because the result of that dream It took some time to see it, but my affairs were stopped. The train was stopped. Where I was going was interfered with. I did fall down the up escalator. That is something I was trying to achieve. I ended up going backwards on it. And I was approached by a man who was trying to get in my business, and I wasn't about to let him in. You see, when I sleep on my left side, I get very, very creative instruction about what to write, where to go, you know, who to see, etc. So there's material, and I'll provide you with some of the YouTube videos that talk about what's happening in different sleep positions. You know, what happens if you're somebody, what's happening to your body and your brain if you sleep on your left, or, you know, when you sleep on your back, or, you know, do you sleep with one leg up? The body reads and sends you certain messages according to your position. And all of this impacts your sleep. I will draw material not only from cutting edge psychology. Yeah, dreams during menstruation are very interesting. But over the years, and this is where y'all have to pray that I get my library sufficiently unpacked in my new apartment. But over the years, I have acquired some wonderful materials. Perhaps you all know that the original people of Australia say that they dreamed their land into being. They dreamed their children. Many of the women in this group know that you dreamed the baby before you got pregnant. Okay. I have a book in my library. The title of it is Pregnancy Dreams of Childless Women. We can take a look at that. I have experienced being in Australia with the original people and experienced the state that they call dreaming. And it is, I mean, it is telepathic beyond belief. Because, you know, with my Virgo moon, I love to test things like this. And they're not kidding. They're not kidding when they say they dream their reality. If you hang with them long enough and are willing to put aside your Western skepticism, you can do it too. You can definitely do it too. I have some material in my library that I hope I'll be able to find where some anthropologists were studying cave paintings and what they said about the dreams of early humans, you know, and most importantly, for our purposes. Years ago, when I was teaching at the University of Creation Spirituality, I had a course in dream dancing and did Dreamwork intensives. And I can tell you this, your dream is not necessarily an isolated individual event. We are dreaming different chapters of a collective story. The ancestors, the orishas, okay, all of the deities and all of nature is constantly talking to us when we shut down that monkey mind. So, you know, years ago, I had a dream that I saw a volcano erupting, and I immediately assumed it was a statement about my temper until I turned the TV on and saw Mount St. Helens erupting. It was the exact same image that I had dreamed. I have had dreams to guide me to paint, dreams that guide me to write, dreams that guide me to warn other people. about what's going on, and on the larger scale, if we put a problem into the dream concentration practice and ask the ancestors for solutions to specific problems, we can be connected to other dreamers who are also addressing that problem. This became very, very clear to me at a point. I was having a nightmare. It was a nightmare for me. And all I knew was that I woke up with the thought, what's gonna happen the day the sea stands still? What's gonna happen the day the ocean stops waving, you know? And I thought, oh, okay, so this is a prompt for some kind of science fiction short story or something, you know. That's where I went with it. And then I mentioned it in one of my classes, and one of my students came up and she gave me an article, and the article said that we were destroying the coral reefs at such a rate that it was impacting the waves of the ocean. And if we destroyed the coral reefs, we would lose the waves of the ocean, which meant the clouds would crash. Okay, so my sci-fi nightmare now had some connection to what was going on in reality. And I said, oh my God, you know, I became very, very concerned about pollution in the ocean, about people's, you know, attitude toward the ocean. I joined the Ocean Conservation Research. I started doing rituals for Yeye and Olokun, and taking people down to the ocean to pick up trash and to sing and to pray and to do things like that. And then one day I turned the TV on, and here's some young boys who have created a machine that they take out on the ocean and they pick up debris. They're cleaning up the ocean, you know. I look at it one day, and there are young people who are diving under the water to restore the coral reefs. And very recently, I'll try to find it again, there's a group of young Black divers who are going down to the bottom of the ocean to recover artifacts from the Middle Passage, you know. And so to me, I went from a place of fear to a place of being informed and connecting to other people who were also dreaming that the ocean is important. That is why I think that we can dream a world together. I think that we can program our sleep concentration to address certain problems that we have, and that the ancestors will answer us, and our consciousness will be impacted in a way that we can solidly have the inspiration to create the things that will save our world. That's where I live, y'all. Leah, I think I should shut up and take questions, huh? We've got what, 10, 15 minutes left?
This is a good time for questions, Yeye.
Okay.
All right. So if you have a question, can you please type in the chat? And I will be calling you. You can type yes if you have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, D has a question.
Okay.
D says, how do we address the fear that comes with doing this work, especially when we don't have community?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Well, one of the things that we're going to have to do is create community, you know, because we do need each other to talk to about this, okay? For those of you who have a lot of fear, we're going to be very gentle with ourselves going into this, because it can be very, very frightening. You know, there are rituals to help you slide into the alpha state. And also, it'll be very, very important, you know, if your dreams scare you, if you feel like maybe there's something terrible that happened in the past that you've suppressed, or if you feel like you're in real jeopardy, you know, where you live. Some places I've lived in places where I stayed up all night and slept all day because I was afraid of what was happening outside at night. If you are having that kind of anxiety, then people need to let me know that, and we will begin with cleansing and protection. Cleansing and protection. Those two are important in any spiritual work. You always need to be functioning in an environment that is supportive of the work that you're doing, and in a circle of protection, so that, you know, you can put your shields up and put those monsters outside of the parameters of your shields until you become strong enough to do the kind of lucid dreaming where you can turn around and kick them in the ass. You see what I'm saying? So don't be afraid to approach, because you'll be given tools to help deal with that. One of the very important tools that we'll have is developing relationships where I can call Leah and say, sister, I had this crazy dream the other night. You got any idea what I'm talking about? Okay. We do need to share. And when I was teaching dream dancing, I had a morning method for dream sharing. If you live in the house with somebody else who's a dreamer, there's a way to do that. You can establish relationships where we get in touch with each other to share dreams. It's very, very important. It's very, very important to have community. Yes.
Yeah, there are quite a few questions here in the chat. Would you like me to read them out?
Yeah.
Okay. Gail says, when working on sleep concentration, do you program the conscious or unconscious mind to send a message?
You're programming the unconscious. The conscious mind says, oh my goodness, I don't know where I'm going to get the money to pay my bills, right? Then you go into sleep concentration and you say, please show me what I have to do to get the money to pay my bills, okay? And you go to sleep with that on your mind and pay attention to what's on your mind when you wake up. Because essentially what's happening is, the energy that you would ordinarily use to digest your food, the energy that you would ordinarily use to sit at your desk and work on your bills, the energy that you would ordinarily use to talk on the phone is rechanneled and focused on that question while the body is relaxed, okay? And so your consciousness tells you what to do. Sometimes it seems, well, most of the time it will seem irrational, not irrational, but just outside of the realm of rationality. So, you know, the example that I love to give is, have you ever been in the situation where you had 6 in one hand and half dozen in the other. You say, oh, should I take this job or should I go to school? If I take the job, all my time will be spent trying to make money and I won't have time to study. If I go to school, I won't have the money to take the classes that I want, and you know, and then you're in a deadlock. You don't know how to do, which one to do, and then you walk in the kitchen and waste ketchup on your dress, and you look at that and say, oh, I guess I'll go to school. You know, oftentimes we credit a leg by with kicking you out of the crossroads of indecision. Sometimes a dream, you know, if you concentrate, you do sleep concentration, a dream will direct you to even a third alternative that you didn't think about, you know. So you in that dilemma, do I go to work on this job or do I go to school? And the dream tells you, oh, go buy some ice cream. And so you get in the car and you go to the ice cream parlor and you walk in and sit down and order the sundae, and then somebody else who needs a seat comes in and asks if they can share your table, and they've got a different offer for you. It is not always linear rational. It's not always linear rational. And we'll have to get used to receiving that kind of intelligence.
Here's a question, Yeye, that speaks to collective dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Lady K says, my mother called me today telling me she saw a fish jump out of a fish tank onto her chest and start flopping. And she woke up screaming because it scared her. Any suggestions, guys?
Whoa, now see, it depends on the culture that you're coming from, because if I was your mother, how old is the person who's asking the question?
Lady K, how old are you? Type that in, please. She's 46 from the Gullah culture.
Okay.
She's Gullah and 46.
Okay, because you see, being from the South, it is pregnancy, baby. Somebody is pregnant. When a fish shows up in somebody's dream, when I was growing up, baby, the women in my mother's circle would gather in the kitchen. Yeah, Reen, I had a fish in my dream the other day. Thelma, you too? Mm-hmm. And then they start trying to figure out who's pregnant. Who is pregnant? It definitely, and see, if we step outside of the rational and try to make a different kind of sense of it, then you can see how a pregnant belly, which is full of salt water, is the ocean, and the fetus is the fish. I mean, that becomes really clear once you stop thinking that it doesn't have meaning, you know. But that's one of those that shows up in a lot of cultures, you know. And again, it tends to be what I call woman knowledge, grounded in the body, grounded in everyday life, not concerned about lofty ideas, but what does it take, you know, what does it take to live your daily life? You know, it's the divine feminine coming through. Yeah, that one is pretty clear, pretty easy. And what amazes me is, why is your mama upset? Does she know the symbolism? Is there a young woman she's worried this girl gonna get pregnant? You know, oh my God, can we accommodate another child? You know, why is mama upset? That's my question. Why is mama upset?
Okay, Yeye. Melanin Ajay says, Well, you covered that. I'm sorry. Let me go to this person. Excuse me. Lucretia Van Dyke. Can you speak about sleep paralysis?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that. Okay, that's one of the frightful things. I'm trying to think of, let me see if I can find, I think it's in chapter 8 of Jambalaya. Let's see. Let me go to the index and see if I can find it more quickly. Sleep paralysis is an important thing that we will, God, this copy of my book is so old. The pages are stuck together. Let's see. Yes, okay, page 188. Page 188 through 91. I talked there about a haint, okay, and how to dispel a haint, right? Okay, I'm going to read this to you. Sisters, I have reservations about giving you the information that follows and would suffer pangs of guilt if I didn't, so bear with me. The instructions I'm about to give you on dispelling a haint are inadequate. They are emergency remedial measures that can be taken and that should be followed up by a consultation with your nearest spiritualist, root woman, priestess, psychic, whoever can be diligent and trusted. I know that as I sit here writing, at least a few of you are being bothered by haints. Don't know what to do and don't even know what is happening to you. I do not intend to be an alarmist, but if you recognize the condition that I'm about to describe, if you or someone close to you are experiencing haint activity, I beg you to employ these methods and get professional help immediately. Haint activity. Have you ever walked into a room and found your roommate lying on the bed with her eyes wide open, where only the whites showing? Her eyes may roll aimlessly, slowly. Perhaps her face twitches. Her fingers seem to move a bit. Her heart pounds so fiercely that her breasts jump up, but her breathing is shallow. She had a checkup at the doctor's, and the doctor says she's fine. Yet there are dark circles under her eyes. Her hair's falling out. She drags around, seems bored, depressed, debilitated, won't smile, has crying fits, won't eat, and complaints of insomnia, but does this open-eyed sleeping at odd times during the day. If she sleeps at night, she wakes up crying or screaming in the middle of the night, had nightmares she can't remember, and keeps rubbing the back of her neck. Her habits are changing for the worse. She used to be a juicer, now she's becoming a boozer. She used to be immaculate, now she drags around in dirty clothes. She fusses with herself a lot and avoids the mirror. You tried to talk to her about the changes you see occurring. She tells you it's none of your business in a voice and speech pattern that you don't recognize. She's always saying, "Get off my back," or "You're a pain in the neck." Or have you ever been lying in bed in a strange waking state? You can see and hear what's going on in the room, but you can't move. Somebody says something, you reply, but your mouth barely moves and others don't hear your words. Is there a dull, heavy pain in the back of your neck? Do you fear that someone is always walking skin close behind you? You fall asleep when you really don't want to. You wake up feeling as if you've been running all night. You seem to stomp your toe, cut your finger, bite your lip, and lose small measures of blood all the time. When you go to the mirror, the face you see looks less like your most recent picture than a stranger. You keep thinking of so-and-so who died a while back, or find yourself wondering what it feels like to be in a fatal auto accident. You wake up some morning feeling as if someone had been in bed with you. You slept alone but must fight back a feeling that you've been raped during the night. You remember something cellophane-like, rubbery or gelatinous against your skin. In certain places on your body, itches or new blemishes and scratches have shown up. The old folks call this being ridden by a haint. Haints are the spirits of people who died suddenly, unpleasantly, or without proper burial. Okay? Now, that whole section gives you recommendations for dealing with a haint from there to page 191. But if there is anybody in the upcoming class who feels that they are dealing with a haint, then in addition to the class, I am going to recommend that you have a personal divination and conversation so that we can figure out exactly what is going on. Now, all of this is, if you ate a bunch of trash before you went to bed and your body couldn't move, that's one thing. But if you are downshifting, if you have a clean environment, if you have, you're really, really, more conscientious about how you sleep, and things like this start happening to you, then there's a series of questions that we have to ask to see what is going on. That paralysis, that feeling like you can't move, that is a very scary thing to have to deal with.
Yeye, there are a few more questions
Okay.
that we can take before you make your announcement.
Okay.
Iya Oribega says she's had prophetic dreams, and she's wondering, and actually several people have mentioned prophetic dreams, and they're wondering how to handle the after effects after you dream the dream and something unfolds. What to do next?
Woo! You know what? You really have hit upon something, because prophetic dreaming, prophetic sleep dreaming, and visionary open-eyed dreaming, okay, can be very lonely. Okay, it can be very lonely. If your dream tells you something and you can't tell nobody else, or you tell other people and they think you're crazy, your only salvation is, number one, keeping track of what your dreams are telling you, right? And number two, very carefully, seeking out, listening for other people who may be having a similar dream or similar vision. And I mean this very, very seriously. I can remember back in the early 80s, very early 80s, I was in my shrine room in the backyard, and I had a map of Africa, and I had a paper cutout of Shaka Zulu, right? And I just, because of something I'd seen in a dream, I took that paper cutout of Shaka Zulu and I pasted it over South Africa, and I said, I want to see apartheid end before I die. Next week, I could get on a plane and go to South Africa. There was a time when I would not be able to do that. That dream has come true, but sometimes when you are trying to tell people what you see in a dream, they can't relate to it. I have a friend who gave me a CD of hers where she put one of her dreams to music, and when I listened to the CD, I realized that she was dreaming 9/11 long before it happened. So, if we need to have or create a prophetic dreamers discussion group where we can share those things, that's the thing that comes to mind immediately, because I know from firsthand experience that you can be given information in a dream and you try to share it with other people and they treat you like you crazy. Yeah, here she come with that mess again. And the only good part about it is if you keep good notes, and I mean years years later, things manifest, you know, and then you can say to those same people, I tried to tell you that this was going on. You know, back in 1991, I think it was, I was involved with a project that I thought was a good project, and it kept failing. It kept experiencing frustration and that kind of stuff. And finally, I went to the Babalawo and I said, you know, I don't understand why the ancestors got me doing this stuff. I don't nobody agree with me, blah, 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 blah. And he said, he performed divination, and he said, yeah, you're not wrong. The problem is they're showing you something that is going to occur in 2050. You know, and if it's 1993 and people don't want to hear it, you know, I know when I was a child coming up watching Star Trek, and there was a telephone where you could see the people you were talking to, and you could give the computer a voice command. We thought that was science fiction. Today it's reality, you see. So, you know, we might have to start a Dream Keepers group so that we can keep track of what we are being told.
Yeye, here's the question from Jasmine. She says, Yeye Alafia, thank you so much. I am wondering if you have any advice for letting go of old spiritual paradigms that no longer serve us and limit our dream work and other spiritual endeavors.
Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with that to make room for refreshed, for a refreshed symbol system, you know. So if for example, the snake has always meant something negative to you, then we're going to have to re-educate your consciousness by showing the person other ways of thinking and especially of feeling about that. I am especially concerned because women have been handed so much spiritual debris to carry, you know, that especially cuts us off from the wisdom of our bodies, you know. I think that we will have to take a look at maybe one of the things we'll need to do is take a look at what religious symbolism you have been fed in the past. I used to have a goddaughter, a Latin woman, who seemed to be, you know, I won't say depressed, but suppressed all the time. You know, her clothes were always conservative and tight. Her speech was sparse. It was always, you know, just something. And I couldn't figure out how to loosen her up, how to have her have more joy. Everything seemed like a burden. And so realizing that it was above me at the time, I took her to a trusted somebody for a divination. And what was said was that she was carrying a burden on her back. And I said, huh, that's interesting. What do you prescribe? And the diviner said, you have to give her a cleansing bath. Well, now a cleansing bath always works, right? But what I discovered was that when I got her clothes off of her and I got her in the tub, this girl had a chain around her neck, okay, with a medallion of the bleeding heart of Jesus. running down her spine. On one side was the bleeding heart of Jesus, and on the other side was him on a crucifix. And she wore this all the time under her clothes. And I said, carrying the burden on her back. And I made her take it off when I bathed her. I made her put it aside, and I said, now, you know, we can't have this, you know. What is this burden that you're carrying? And to make a very long story short, you know, here we go. She, as a young woman, she got pregnant. Her family was ashamed of her. They made her keep the baby, but they lied and told the baby that this woman was her sister, not her mother. So she done grew up in the household with her daughter thinking that she's her sister, and she feeling guilty and burdened by that. You see what I'm saying? Okay, we have to uncover what it is that is the burden, and then we have to clean it away so that you know, you can have the quality of your interior life has to change. And anything that weighs you down like that, actually, as I recall, I had her to take that medallion and put it on take a white plate, put a white piece of fabric on it, put that medallion on the white fabric, sprinkle it with efflume, and offer it to Obatala. Yes, you hear what I'm saying, yeah? You know, we have to, ritual is the one thing that reaches us beyond this rational. You know, ritual moves the energy, ritual cleans the emotions, ritual brings people together. So you're gonna need your ritual space. But that's the kind of thing we'll be doing.
Yeah, there's been a very positive and overwhelming response to the idea of a dream workers group.
Oh, good.
In the chat. Yes, ma'am. Lots and lots of positive energy around that.
All
so
right.
At this time, would you like me to share your course information?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to scroll down and you can talk it through.
Okay, baby.
All right.
So we're saying 9 weeks, you know, and again, everything, how fast or how slow we move will depend on what energies people bring to the class. Because I'm not one of them people who's going to skip over any of your process. You know, you have to have integrity in your process. We have to create an environment where people feel safe bringing their stuff forward. And I expect folks to do homework. You know, you got to do your homework. So when we say 9 weeks, this is what I am projecting, and what actually happens will depend on how fast we move or how deep we want to go. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is that I am guided by the forces of nature. So that as far as I'm concerned, winter, the time when the earth is pulling her resources back and spending time regenerating so that we can burst forth in spring, winter is the perfect time to do dream work. Okay. I am hoping that you are living the kind of life where you can have more personal time in winter, more family time in winter, and you know, let us agree with Demeter. You know, when Persephone was in the underworld, Demeter roamed the world, bringing down snow everywhere. You know, that's how come we have winter, right? So we want to wrap up warmly. We want to sit by the fire. We want to go inside to the soft, warm darkness of the dream world. Okay, so the title of this is Revelations, Your Secret Life Revealed Through Daydreams, Nightmares, and Visions of the Future. You know, some people try to make a big separation between what you dream when you go to sleep at night and what you dream in the daytime with your eyes wide open. They are not separate as far as I can tell. They flow one into the other, and they help us to understand our visions for the future. So, you know, that's the first thing I want to say. So January 11th, that's the first day. We'll have introductions and the overview of the classes. And there is, those of you who have been with me in the past have already received the self-assessment form, but new people coming in will receive the self-assessment form. And that is a forever document that helps you to assess your own progress, how you're feeling about various aspects of your life. So everybody will get the self-assessment form. Okay, and then on the 18th, the deities of the deep. And here, initially I'm talking about Yemaya and Olokun, but you will be invited to bring in deities that you know or from your culture, like Tiamat. You know, Tiamat does some stuff with dreams, and other deities that that are connected with the dreams. I know that in the past I've done some work with the Egyptian dog god Anubis, you know, who will take you into the underworld. So we'll take a look at the deities of the deep and talk about various ones and how they, and it's going to be important because that's where I want you to start your dream journal. Okay? Our secret life and the other world. Okay? This is where we'll be looking at the different layers of consciousness. That is, what do we see as the heavenly realm? What do we see as the earthly realm? And what do we see as the deep? I think every culture has those three layers to their cosmology. That there's us, there's what's above, and there's what's below. And in this way, the below is what's deep down in our consciousness, and the practice will be preparing for a good night's sleep. Okay? February 1st, daydreams. Consulting the oracle to access your dreams with eyes wide open. What are your aspirations, your expectations, and preparing for the ascent to spring equinox? Now, this is where we'll start water gazing so that we can lead into sleep concentration. You know, maybe some of you know that in the myth, for example, of Persephone, where Hades, the deity of the underworld, steals this girl and takes her down there. I was just talking pomegranates with somebody the other day. She is held captive down there from December 21st and can't see her. You know, he trying to get her to be his wife, and she don't want to be down there. Up above her mother, Demeter, is mourning the loss of her daughter and causing snow everywhere, thereby creating winter. But on February 2nd, it said that that is the day that Persephone sees the first point of light that will lead her out of the underworld. And so she treks upward from February 2nd and arrives on top March 21st, the first day of spring. Okay, so we are in a similar place where we will begin to open our eyes and start to see where we're going to ascend to. We'll start water gazing to establish our symbol systems. And then February 8th. I put the fear and courage ritual here early. This is a 10-day ritual that you will have to do. And this is a place where you really want to have a connection with somebody else in the class or a connection with a good friend, because the fear ritual is a 10-day ritual. And essentially, it's in Jambalaya. You can look in the index. But essentially what happens with the fear ritual is all of the things that you are afraid of come right into your face so that you can take a good look at them and overcome them. I want to say right now that it is not possible to have courage without having fear. Courage is moving forward in the face of fear. And it is better to have your fears out front being dealt with than to suppress them and try to act like they're not there, because they'll come to get you. So it's going to be important early on for us to do that. February 15th. Okay, now once we have confronted our fears, there is our wildest dreams. Now we're going to let ourselves have fearless visions of the future. Okay, we're going to look at it: excitement, investment, and disappointment. Okay, and the deity that we're going to look at here is the power of Erzeli Freda Dahomey, who is she's a Haitian goddess who is described as the ability to dream beyond possibility. There is advantage to that. When you first hear it, the ability to dream beyond possibility, you could easily say, well, if shit ain't possible, why am I dreaming it? Why would I invest in it? But this is how we stretch our consciousness and our culture. By the excitement is where the real magic is. The investment is the work. And then the thing that we always have to deal with is disappointment. And I'll talk about why disappointment occurs, and we will deal with how to handle disappointment. Oh, I know. Disappointment almost made me kill myself at one point, you know, but we will deal with it. We will deal with it. Okay. Creating the dreamscape. Now that we've confronted fear, engaged in our visions, dealt with excitement and disappointment, it's time for us to move toward manifestation, manifesting these visions and these dreams. So we're going to start creating the dreamscape. And it is very, very important here that, that the dreamscape come out of opening what we call Iwaju, the eye of character, okay? it is very important that your vision be balanced and very, very manageable. I'm sure that some of you have done like a vision board before, or set up a series of affirmations, right? And there you learned, you don't want to get up and say, okay, this morning I affirm that $1 million is going to fall out of the sky into my hands. You know, you affirm what it is you want to achieve, how you want to feel. You see what I'm saying? And that becomes the manifestation. So your character, in Yoruba tradition, though a lot of people forget it, we say character is destiny. Character is destiny, right? And so with the self-assessment ritual, and maybe even we may have to incorporate some oracles. I'm expecting some things that I'm inspecting. I've seen several dreaming tarot decks and stuff like that online. I want to test some of them to see if there's one I would dare to recommend, you know. But yeah, it's very, very important that you be about the business of manifesting a quality dream that is consistent with your character. Now, this is where our dream group comes in. Dreaming in community. The mystery of dream sharing and manifestation. I've talked about that a little bit, but I'm very, very happy to know that people are interested in having an active dreaming group. That's going to be very, very good. And maybe depending upon if there's a cluster of people living in a particular area, maybe they can get together in person. Maybe folks can do conference calls or small pod Zooms. We'll figure out the best way to organize it, but it's important that we be about the business of sharing our dreams. March the 7th, we continue with dreaming in community and the emergence of the spring equinox and celebrating fulfilled dreams, okay? We'll review the course, reflect on what we've done, and get, closure on this. I am very, very interested in members of this class creating spring equinox rituals or celebrations in your neighborhood. It's very, very important for that sense of community to bring people together. Awakening to spring. Okay.
So Yeye, before we go into the actual opportunity for enrollment, would you like to share with everyone exactly what is the Jambalaya Spirit Works program?
Okay. We, what I have realized is that there are a lot of people who are in want of quality spiritual guidance. And a lot of people are being misled by some of the stuff I see online. Okay. Jambalaya, which Yeye made me write, has proven itself to be relevant over a 35-year period. And what I recognize is that I need to be training people not only to heal and advance themselves, but to be able to execute the rituals in Jambalaya, do them for other people, and teach others. And so what I'm looking at is certificate programs that would say, you know, this person, I am confident that this person is competent to share, teach others this material from Jambalaya. But what comes first is your own healing, and then identifying your area of expertise. So some of you will be herbalists, some of you will be dream therapists, some of you will be, you know, performance artists, some of you will be different things, but they are basic things that I think everybody should go through in order to be a valuable practitioner. And so the Jambalaya Spirit Works course is going to have several offerings and several layers of quote unquote certification, especially, you know, my selfish piece in this is that I'm going to be 72 in April, okay? And I would like a situation where when somebody calls me up and says, Luisah Teish, can you come to the place and do such and such a thing? I can say, well, you know, Jamie and Olivia are qualified to do that. They're certified by me. Let me send them in my place, right? I need to know that I have trained people who can service other people who are in good shape themselves, because unfortunately, there's a lot of sick people out there claiming to be spiritual teachers who are making other people sick.
So when you visit on Yeye's website, this new course, part of the Jambalaya Spirit Works program, the second course in the series, is listed on her website. We are enrolling now. You can begin your enrollment today. This is important to know. There has been a first course in the series, but there is no prerequisite to your participation other than, as Yeye has expressed, your willingness to learn, to grow, and to be committed to your own healing. So because you see part 2, do not think that you had to have taken part 1.
Right.
You can begin with a part 2 course, yes, which is Revelations, that is happening. For Yeye's community and in celebration of this, we're about to enter a new decade, which is amazing. As we get ready to, the wheel of the year is turning, and as we cross into the winter equinox and into this new decade, the enrollment for the course, the Revelations course, is $222 for payments of. And so you can begin with a deposit. We have found that monthly payments work best for members of Yeye's learning community. They are monthly installments. It happens automatically. And so this is in fact a wonderful rate for her returning students. It's an investment for you as a returning student, or even as an this Masterclass Dreamers early bird discount is available through December 22nd. And so basically you can consider this perhaps a winter solstice gift to yourself, a Christmas gift, a Kwanzaa gift, a New Year's gift, a new decade gift to yourself. But the registration is up and on her website now. Yeye, do you have anything you'd like to share while I'm here? And I see questions coming in.
Well, you know, I just want people to know that we do our best to make sure that the courses are affordable, that high value comes from it, especially if you do the homework. It also carries with it at the end I am planning to have a bembe, a drum ceremony in Oakland the last weekend of March, and all of my students are invited to that. You will get more information about that. And also, you know, I'm paying attention to what our needs are along with what the earth is doing. So, you know, come spring, the class for April through June will be on the goddess Yeye, the goddess of prosperity, in order to make sure that, you know, my students are doing the things they need to do to bring a wealth to them. I don't believe in bleeding people. That's why we have the kinds of payment plans that we have. So, you know that that is our intention, is to make it affordable for you.
Yeah, I'm going to check I see that there have been a few comments here. So Lena, thank you for posting in the chat. Thank you for listing Yeye's website. It's there, yeyeluisahteish.com. Thank you so very much for sharing that in the chat. Let's see. I'm going to read a few comments here, Yeye.
Okay.
Let's see, Jan says, yes, so true. And I would love to be a part of facilitating spiritual healing for individuals and communities. Lucy says, this is wonderful. Angel says, yes, I see that sickness in my field. That is why people are not being healed, because the people they go to are not healthy.
God, that is such a catch-22. Oh my God, it makes me, it used to make me crazy, because people would show up at my doorstep, I mean, broken and scared and so on. And then when I asked them where they've been, you know, somebody has beat them for tens of thousands of dollars and done stuff that was designed to get them more embroiled in negative energy patterns, right? You know, and Mao Shun is a vulture, okay? If there's decay anywhere, she gonna find it. That's the thing. And so I was running around all over the country hearing these stories and trying to figure out how to address it. And what came clear is that the Jambalaya Spirit Works classes are the best way to do that, you know. Believe me that anybody who missed the first session, which was Ancestor Reverence, we will always return to Ancestor Reverence in the fall. And also, if along the way we discover that there is another course that needs to be created, you know, we can put something on Sunday, something else. For example, when we get into this dream work, if it's found that people want or need guidance around divination, we can have a divination class on Sunday, okay? Just know that I am always going to pay attention to your assessments and do my best to provide what your assessment is saying you need. Also know that every session I invite other people who I know to be people of integrity with specialized knowledge to be a guest lecturer in this program. So last semester there was questions about Congolese spirituality, okay? And I had Yeye Luisah, who's done a lot of research around that, to speak. I'm trying to track down a sister named Cheptu, whose specialty is dreamwork in Egyptian tradition, you know. So just know that I am paying attention to what you need, what you're asking for, and all you have to do is your homework.
Thank you, Yeye. I'm going to read a few more comments here.
Okay.
It looks like, well, I'm reading here, Carolyn would love to study with Yeye. We all would, but we will sponsor her. So it looks like some women are going to work together to sponsor someone.
Very good.
To participate. There's some folks also asking about the part 1 course. Yeye, what is your intention at this time for the part 1 course, for it to come back when the season turns again, versus a recording of the course?
You know, let's talk about that, because like I was just saying, you know, the thing is here's the way hold on a minute. Somebody's at my door, y'all. Hold on just 1 minute. Just a minute. Oh. Okay. How you doing, baby? How you doing? Yeah. Hold on a minute. I'm shutting down my online class. Here's your bowl. I'm gonna answer a couple of. Have a seat. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions.
Can I sit here, or where are you?
Yeah, I'm sitting at the end. You can sit there.
If you have any, if anyone has any other questions about enrolling in the course or about the Jambalaya Spirit Works program, feel free to go ahead and add that to the chat so that we can address your questions in the next few minutes. Also, you can send us an email at yeyeluisah@gmail.com. Again, I'll reintroduce myself. I'm Queen Leah Lewis, and I assist Yeye as her administrator. So it's likely that you'll be in touch with me if you have any questions as well. So thank you. When you participate in Jambalaya Spirit Works, the program, you are joining a vibrant community, a vibrant, brilliant, magical community of women who have been connected through Yeye's courses. And so it's the course, but believe me, the experience is so much more than that. It's really expansive.
So let me answer that question so that people are not worried. Let me lay it out. In general, we do ancestor reverence work in the fall. We do dream or deep interior work in the winter, okay? We do prosperity, fertility, creativity in the spring when nature is bearing that up, right? You know, and we often do health and sexuality and stuff like that in the summer, and then return to deeper ancestor reverence work in the fall. Now, those of you who are enrolling in the winter Dreamwork course, who are concerned that you were not in Ancestor Reverence 1, we have two options. Number one, those who have done Ancestor Reverence 1 this past fall, when we come back to 2, my expectation is that they'll be reporting on their ancestral journey report. I expect progress on that report, okay? So we can start an Ancestor Reverence 1 in the fall, right? And also have Ancestor Reverence 2 in the fall. Ancestor Reverence 2 would be on Saturday, Ancestor Reverence 1 would be on Sunday, okay? And you all could take that and remain, you know, within the scheme of the year and the way that nature is going. However, if there are people who feel like right now they're very, very pressed behind some ancestor reverence stuff, then depending upon how many of you there are, we can start doing that. We can start doing that on Sundays. Now, it is much better to do the ancestor reverence in the fall, because that is the time when the veil between the worlds is thinnest. That is the time when people are doing halomas, Dia de los Muertos, you know, mooncakes and hungry ghosts, right? All the cultures are honoring the ancestors at that time. So I guess the question that I need to ask is, are there people in this masterclass right now who feel like they really seriously need to do some ancestor work immediately?
To answer Yeye's question, if you feel that ancestor work is immediate need for you or an immediate interest, please give a thumbs up so we can get a visual.
Mm-hmm. I need to know how many people that is.
I'm seeing what looks like one thumb. A lot of the faces here are returning students.
Mm-hmm.
Two people are raising their hand, but we do have several of your students who are here, who have taken the course or who are on the path with that.
Okay, so then if there's only a few who need immediate stuff, what I say to them is enroll in the ancestor reverence in the fall. But before that, if something is really going on, then book a consultation with me and I can see specifically why your ancestors are tugging at your head. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I'm seeing a couple of nods here, Yeye.
Okay. Well, see,
Yes.
that's what I mean. We will always tailor things to handle what's really going on. So, you know, like I said before, if people realize that they need a personal oracle, or, you know, something else is going on, then I'll always figure out a way for you to get what you need. But it's best to do the ancestor reverence work in the fall.
Okay. So Yeye, there is a few more requests for information about private consultations, and I have provided your website. So that is the thing you would do when you go to Yeye's website. There is a link for spiritual consultations there, and the great thing is the timing is wonderful because Yeye's calendar has opened. Sometimes there is.
Baby, listen, I sent Leia the dates when I can do consultations, okay? And if what you're wanting is your guidance for going into the new year, definitely, you know, do this in December. Also know that in general, I do a divination for the incoming year. I receive the divinations from Africa and Cuba and other places and go through the messages and then ask which of the rituals need to be done by people in my circle of concern. Okay. Now, if you're somebody who's got a birthday coming up, or you've got a wedding or something coming up, and you want specific divination around that, either you can make arrangements with me, or I will see to it that you are connected to a competent reader. Okay. So don't worry about that. But if you can get the get a December date, I think the 16th through the 20th, and then another period like that, go ahead and book it so that you can feel like you're going into the new year with your guidance.
Thank you, Yeye. That's very clear. So we will be following up with all of that. Tosha, who visited tonight, who joined tonight from Finland, says that it's midnight there.
Wow.
So she says, thank you for a good night, and she will be reviewing more. Thank you from Lucy. Thank you from Imari. Thank you from Jan. Lucretia says, thank you, beautiful queens. Hoping to receive abundant blessings and join you all in January. It was all so good, as always. Interested in the certification course, which is coming down the road, and love the hibiscus. Queen.
Okay, so let me just say this to those of you who are in Finland and London and other countries. I know you know, you don't need to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to be in this class. So we do record it so that you can get your hands on the recording. But as much as possible, when we are doing things like the confrontation with fear, if you can move stuff around so that you can be with us in the middle of the night, you know, that's actually very good for dealing with your nightmares. You know, but we'll work it out. You know, I know there are folks in Australia and in other places, and we will juggle the clock as much as we can.
All right, very good.
Okay, now I done run my mouth too much. My neighbor is here to talk to me. I'm gonna get off of this Zoom, and Leah, if there's more stuff, then you handle it, okay?
Absolutely, Yeye. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Yeye, I'm gonna take everyone off mute so they can say something kind of in a chorus of goodbyes and alafias. All right, Yeye?
Alafia.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, try to good to you. I'll see you later. Bye. That's good.
And abundance and prosperity.
Thank you all. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, women. Jambalaya women, Yeye's beloved community of students, fans, followers, readers of her book, godchildren, fellow priests and priestesses, healers. Just thank you so much for your time and for your energy and your presence. We do appreciate you. We know you could be doing anything in this countdown to the holidays, but that you chose to invest your time and energy to be with us means so much, because ultimately the investment is for you and for your benefit and for the beautiful world that we are dreaming and co-creating together. So just again, if you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to Yeye Luisah Teish at gmail.com, which is the direct email address. Also, you can find information about the course and go ahead and get enrolled now, enjoying this wonderful early bird rate at yeyeluisateish.com. And again, thank you so much. So leading up to this change of seasons, wishing you all a happy winter solstice and a happy holiday season. And we'll look forward to seeing you in Revelations. Peace, y'all. Much love. Thank you.